Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, welcome to the show. This is Ole Didriksen, your radio host. Today my guest is Michelle Wong, and we are going to talk about how she helps her customers in New York. So, Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I'm very excited to hear about what you do and the types of customers you help. Can you tell me more about that, please?
Yes, of course. Basically, I help homeowners and also buyers, homeowners that are in financial stress, financial situations that are looking for another outlet. Instead of going through the traditional route of having a real estate agent, I provide my services and we look for ways to compromise and options for the sellers to be able to sell their home. And on the other end, we also help buyers. And basically what we do is there's some buyers that might have, let's say, they don't have good credit and they're looking to purchase a home. We would give them the option of renting it out first, building up their credit, and then from there be able to make the purchase and have a mortgage per se.
I see. So you work both with buyers and sellers, and if I understand it correctly from your profile, you create win-win deals. You focus on doing that for both parties. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So win-win means win for the seller that is trying to sell their home, sell it very quickly, and be satisfied with the amount of money that they're getting in return, and also getting resolution to, with the headache of trying to sell so that they would be able to have the money in place to resolve whatever issues, and also win for the buyer that is also looking to make a purchase on a home. They might not have, let's say, the financial status in place. So for us is the win-win.
Okay, that makes sense. I understand that the homes are innovative by being solar efficient. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, some of the homes are solar efficient. That's more on the end of development. For the company that we have, we also do development, and the development properties that we start from construction from the beginning are solar efficient. So by being solar efficient, it's being cost friendly, meaning the consumer, the person that's making the purchase, is not going to pay a lot of money for electricity, if they have certain products that are sustainable or solar efficient.
I see. So does it save buyers much in energy consumption? Do you have a number?
It saves them about 30-40%, depending on how big the house is and the usage that they're using it for. If they're constantly using electricity for entertainment and everyday use, it's about 30-40% that they save, sometimes a little bit more, but it all varies.
I see. I'm very interested in the innovative way you have of selling homes. Can you tell me more about how you do that for sellers?
Being innovative, like how I approach the sellers? Well, we do direct mail, and we also, at times, we speak with agents that are real estate investor friendly, and basically they understand how we operate. So we get some assistance from them in regards to potential, properties that are available. And then we do go and contact the seller. Basically just give them a rundown of what we can offer and options that we can give them. And then from there, they make the decision.
I see. Can you expand some more on how investors benefit from the deals?
Well, if you do real estate investing per se, if we approach it in this manner, the closing is much quicker than in a traditional sense. Traditional sense, sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months closing because there's a mortgage involved and so forth. But if we approach a buyer that is interested of making a purchase, then it would range between 30 to 45 days, sometimes 50 days. So the process is a lot quicker if we do it under the real estate investing as if you were doing it under the traditional real estate agent. The other thing, too, is that you cut out the 6% commission. We do get a finder's fee for it, but it's not as costly as a 6% commission.
So you cut out the 6% commission.
Yeah, but that's the reason why sometimes real estate agents are a little reluctant. The other thing, too, is that sometimes the real estate agent doesn't understand exactly how we do things outside the traditional sense. So sometimes we do have a little bit of an issue there. But the ones that are investor friendly, they understand it because they too are also investors and they like to do joint ventures or partner up on projects.
I see. What led you to this field, Michelle? I'm very curious about that. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. Well, a little bit of my background. I started in the medical field. I was in business administration in the medical field for about 10, 11 years. And then I was approached from a friend of mine who's a broker. And this was about maybe 3 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago. And we had a conversation about real estate. And basically he was telling me, he said, you're very good with speaking with people. You're very good with making connections with people. And on top of that, you do have some knowledge in real estate. So why don't you become a real estate agent? That's what I did. I went and I followed through. And then after that, I was introduced into real estate investing. And then from there, it piqued my interest. I think I have a passion for real estate overall. Anything with real estate, anything with architecture, design, construction, things of that, I have a big interest in.
That's good. So probably that helps you to do it well. It is a passion for you.
Yes, it is.
Maybe we can head back to a problem question. What is the biggest obstacle home buyers and home sellers are facing when trying to sell their home or buy a home?
Well, one of the obstacles that I see is on both ends is that they're not familiar with the market. One of the things that they have to be familiar is that they need to know what the market is or what the value is in that particular area. Sometimes the seller, they're very attached to their home and they want a certain price that might be the standard price range, or they might think that the house or the property is valued higher than what it's supposed to. So sometimes you have to kind of level with them and tell them, this is actually what the value is. This is what you can get, because they're not too familiar with that. Then with buyers, it's also the same thing. Sometimes they have difficulties purchasing a home. Most of the time it has to do with financial. If they do not have, let's say, if they went to get a mortgage, they might not get approved for the full amount, or they might not have enough capital to make a down payment or things of that sort. So that's also a factor on the buyer's end as well. So, these are just factors that I see on a daily. And on the seller side, one of the other things that I've noticed is they're a little skeptical when it comes to dealing with someone that is trying to help them sell their home. Not just as an agent, but also as an investor. They're a little skeptical because they're not too sure. Sometimes they had bad experiences. They've dealt with other people that, assume the role of helping them out, and then they're having issues with it. So for them, it's also being comfortable with working with someone that would be able to assist them.
I see. I was wondering, how can home buyers and home sellers overcome these obstacles to successfully achieve the outcome they want, like the down payment and not being that skeptical? How do you help them overcome those problems?
Well, for me, I approach them not as a number. I don't approach them as just being a deal. I approach them on a one-to-one. I ask them exactly what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to achieve, either selling a home or making a purchase on the home. And then from there, I give them options of what I can do to assist them. It's really up to them after that, because I already put in the factor of making them feel comfortable to be able to work with me. But it's really up to them if they want to proceed. And the thing is, you have to be personable with them. You have to engage them where they feel that you're treating them as they should, not as just being a business transaction. Then anybody can do a business transaction and they can make thousands of dollars, millions of dollars out of it. But the approach is doing it one-to-one, being personable with them and showing them that we do care what happens afterward. That's something different.
I see. Okay, can you tell about an instance or a story when a buyer or a seller became positively surprised about how you delivered your service and the result they got from working with you, the way you do, the innovative way, not the traditional way?
Yeah, I have one instance where I had one seller that came in very skeptical because they've been through multiple real estate agents, and I went in being innovative and letting them know, this is what I can do for you. These are the options that I can do to help you sell it and do this quickly. And in the long run, the transaction went through quicker than anticipated, because I had a buyer in place.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not all stories are going to be like that. It's a case to case, and each scenario is different. I've had clients that have been very, very difficult, but you have to be patient with them.
I see. So, what would be your best advice for home buyers or home sellers who want to sell or buy a home by themselves, or doing it the traditional way without your kind of service?
Well, if they're trying to do it themselves, and I've seen some clients do it that way, and that's perfectly fine, you have to basically have a checklist of the type of people that you want to encounter. And what I mean by that is that if you're selling a home, you want to know if this person is financially secure. You need to know that you would be able to get information from them. There's websites out there that you can get their information and then investigate to see if the information that is being provided is the information that's being accurate. So if you needed to know, let's say, if they have a good credit or something like that, there is a site that you can go and check that out. There is another site that you can also, and I can't recall from the top of my head, but there are websites out there that do provide these particular services. There's another one that you can also do a background check to make sure that that particular person doesn't have, any criminal activity and so forth, which is still within your rights to be able to investigate all of that, just to make sure that you're securing someone that would be able to pull through with the transaction, with the closing. That's on the seller side. On the buyer side, they basically have to have everything in order. If they're looking for a particular property, there's Zillow. Some people recommend Craigslist. I'm a little iffy about Craigslist. That's something that you have to do a lot of research. But again, there are platforms out there that you can go and check it out. You can do market analysis and see which particular property is worthwhile, and just going and meeting up with the seller and seeing if that works out for them. Sometimes approaching a seller and seeing if you can do some type of negotiation with them in regards to the price and so forth. Some of them are approachable on that.
I see. Okay. If someone wants to sell their home, buy their dream home the innovative way, or invest in a home, how can they connect with you?
They can connect with me, and there's also other companies out there that also provide the services. There's multiple companies that provide the services. Either they have solar panels. There's one particular company that, this is if you're, let's say that you're starting construction from the beginning and you want to construct your own home, per se. This is just an example. There is a company that they don't use solar panels. They use insulation. So they actually mold everything with these grates, and they insulate it so that everything that is covered, the infrastructure that it's covered, is covered in the material that would be green and efficient. So that's like the new method that they have now, and it's being introduced here in the US. I know that in Europe is very popular, the whole green movement. But but these are just a few ways that they can use the green path or being efficient. But there's quite a few companies, but it depends on how advanced you want to be with being green or being solar efficient, because they're two separate things. Being solar is using solar panels, and being green is that you're using the materials that are more, I guess, organic per se. So it really depends on the level and how in-depth you want to be with that.
Okay. Do your company provide both, like green and solar, or is it separate usually?
We provide both. If it's already a property that's standing, we'll use the solar panels. If it's something where it's construction from the ground up, it would be green. So it would be materials that are more eco-friendly.
I see. Very interesting. So to wrap this up, is there anything else you feel that is important for people to know about what you do that we may not have covered?
No, I think that's basically everything. You know, for me anyway, it's just being able to approach clients in a more personable fashion as to being more too business-like. I think that you have to have a happy medium between the two. And the other thing, too, is that you have to have an understanding and you have to be patient with the clients that you're dealing with.
That sounds good. So thank you, Michelle, for sharing these insights with us. That's it. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.